My brilliant colleague, Professor Anil Madhavapeddi, was invited to a top-class scientific symposium on artificial intelligence for science at the Royal Society in London, featuring a panel of 4 Nobel laureates. He took live notes during the presentations and he promptly published them on his blog the same day. It's amazing stuff, and it's a very pleasant read. Now, it seems to me that on average, university students have got weaker and weaker over the decades. Even though most students show up to lectures with a laptop, they don't actually use it for its intended purpose. Most of them are incapable of taking live notes and are unwilling to put in the effort to learn how to do so. They vocally demand a copy of the slide deck and also on top of that even a recording of the lecture, which in my considered opinion as a professional educator is highly misguided and pedagogically detrimental. And at most, while they listen, they will maybe underline some part of a slide or write a short comment in the margin. And of course, that's much easier to do than actually taking notes, but they don't know and they don't understand that they are shortchanging themselves. And let me tell you a secret. The fact that most students won't take notes, dear intelligent viewer of this channel, actually makes things easier for you. Since we know that your competition is weak, all you need to do to get ahead of them is to invest in yourself and acquire this crucial and rare skill of taking good live notes during a meeting or a lecture. This does not mean transcribing word for word, which would only be an exercise in typing quickly. Of course, it's always a good idea to learn touch typing so that you can look at what you write rather than at the keys you press. And I have a whole video for you on that. Instead, the skill of taking good notes is to pay attention to the speaker and to understand the actual message while it is being delivered and to distill it and write it down on the page in your own words in real time. And of course, that's not so easy because in the meantime, the speaker is continuing to speak and you still need to pay attention to that too. But that's what creates new synapses in your brain and gives you a good mental workout. What comes out is not at all a word-for-word transcript, but a much more concise text. It's your own synthesis of the key points of the message. What really matters is not recording what is said, but extracting, processing, and re-expressing the core ideas. It's not an easy job, which is why most people are not willing to do it. But it gives you a superpower. Let me give you 3 reasons. First, because in real life you won't get lecture recordings or slide decks, so you'd better not get used to them and then become dependent on a crutch that will one day disappear. Second, because even when you get lecture recordings for every lecture you go to, in practice there aren't enough hours in the day to listen to them again. It's bad enough having to go to all the lectures of your university courses and doing the associated homework and then eating and sleeping and perhaps even attempting to have some form of social life without also having to squeeze in the considerable extra time to go through the lectures a second or even a third time. Students tend to be quite vocal and insistent about demanding the recordings, but in practice they never have time to listen to them ever again. Think how much more efficient it would be to put in the effort to understand and internalize the lecture in real time while it is being delivered. Third, and most important, and possibly least understood, taking good live notes, as opposed to attempting to transcribe word for word, is a superpower because, as an important side effect, it makes your brain own the material. The point is not merely to capture the information that's being delivered and storing it somewhere, as the lecture recording does. It's to learn it. It's to acquire that knowledge as part of you. And this is a process that requires active participation. Those who demand the slide deck and recordings are unwittingly castrating their brain and giving up on making those insights their own. If 2 years later a situation comes up where the knowledge presented at the lecture could be fruitfully applied, they might have the recording or the slide deck somewhere on their computer if they haven't lost it in the meantime, but they won't be in a position to make use of it in the current circumstances. You instead, who took notes intelligently, will instantly know what the problem is about, how it relates to what you understood back then, and you will be able to make the connections and apply that knowledge to the problem at hand because it's now part of you, even if you no longer have access to the good notes you took at the time. Paradoxically, taking good live notes would help you understand and learn the content of the lecture much better than slide decks and recordings, even if you just burned the notes after taking them, because most of the value is not in the output, it's in the process. Now, of course, the notes won't be perfect. They will miss out on some details. Sometimes you'll zone out while you take notes and you'll miss a point. Occasionally, your summary of the main message might even be slightly wrong because, in fact, you missed or misunderstood the main message of the speaker while it was being delivered. It does happen. But it happens a lot more if you don't take notes in the first place. So this is my hint. In your undergraduate studies, You will be attending hundreds of lectures during which you can practice this skill. Step up to the challenge and commit to taking live notes at each lecture. Even better, if you commit to publishing them on your blog, as this gives you accountability. That's a lot of work for sure, but it doesn't take any more time than just going to the lectures passively. Treat this like a chance to go to a mental gym. While your peers attend the lectures like mental couch potatoes who just watch TV with their feet up while eating popcorn, you are sweating and putting in the reps and building up your mental muscles, if I may mix my metaphors. It will be difficult at first, but keep at it. Sometime in maybe your second year of this practice, you will become halfway decent at it. And by your third year, you'll definitely be pretty good. And I guarantee that your understanding and recall of the material will be superior to that of that 95% of your peers who couldn't be bothered to put in the hard work and who never learned how to take good notes. And you will complete the degree really owning the material instead of merely having been exposed to it. Plus, you will get to enjoy your superpower for the rest of your life, and you will continue to be well ahead not only of the other students in your cohort, but also of most of your professional colleagues. Because one of the most important skills you can acquire at university, although not one that you usually get taught explicitly, is to learn how to learn. Please write in the comments what you think is the most effective way for you to learn and retain the content of a lecture or presentation you attend. Of course, putting the knowledge into practice is also extremely important, writing a program that implements those ideas, doing the exercise, and so forth. If you get any value out of this, please like the video, which helps the channel, and say encyclopedia in your comment to signal that you are here till the end, which always makes me happy. And here is another video I think you might like. Thank you, and see you next time.